our blackness isn't seen as a positive thing. So wherever I can, I kind of fight against that stigmatization and kind of whatever I do to represent my blackness. Anything good that I am is because of, first and foremost, my God, but secondly, my blackness and who I am throughout my ancestral bloodline.
Guys, so we're here with Black Excellence Bristol. I'm with my friend Izaak Levy, and we're celebrating aspirations and achievements. So I'm here with Izaak. He's a Christian Jamaican born here, but Jamaican background.
Yeah, that's right.
And obviously you went to St. Mary Redcliffe School as well, didn't you?
Yes,
that's how I sort of knew you through, because I went to the sixth form there.
That's right.
Yeah, so how are you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I'm blessed. I can't complain, man. I'm doing well.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm excited to have you here as well, because me and Izaak, we've interacted in a few different times on a number of different, like, really interesting topics, like about the riot that happened in Bristol and stuff like that. And just generally about, like, things relating to the Black community. I know you wrote a really good essay about the history of vaccines from the West, and how that influences African people.
The seed was planted as a young boy to always be in a quest to gain knowledge. I was forced to read as much as I didn't like it. It was kind of a thing of like, cool, you can go on your Game Boy or PSP for like an hour, but you're going to be reading straight after, or you can't go on it until you read. The seed was planted that I had to read. And then throughout school, I went to a private primary school, and I have a lot of critiques of private schools. But one good thing about the private school was that even throughout primary school, I was forced to read. So that quest for knowledge was always there. And then as time developed and I kind of gained an understanding for the reality of what it is to live life as a Black man, that quest for knowledge then kind of got directed in the direction of a quest to understand Blackness. And obviously throughout school, or throughout life as a Black person, you hear the name Malcolm X, you hear the name Martin Luther King, but you don't really know too much about it, especially within the school system. You don't really get taught too much about these heroes, which is what I would refer to them as, and their true contributions towards society and towards the world. So what I did within my own time is that it's kind of started pretty much just before lockdown. But obviously, with lockdown happening, I had nothing but time. So I directed my reading and my quest for knowledge into these particular figures that I had heard about beforehand. And I kind of went into a rabbit hole and kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And here I am today.
Yeah. And so, like, I myself am someone, I like to do research like this, similar to you as well. But I think, my setback is not reading enough, and not reading enough books, particularly by African men, or African people, in general. And like ones like this that are going to further my understanding and further my knowledge, and kind of also further my understanding of how to break down these systems of oppression. So how important would you say is the reading aspect of this learning, this journey,
Okay, so one thing I didn't mention before is that from my youth, obviously being forced to read and having that desire to read, to where I am now, in between there was a gap in which I didn't read anywhere near as much. It was probably a time where, like, throughout like a 5-year period, maybe I completed one book cover to cover. And I would say that for me personally, how I got back into reading originally was I started with documentaries on YouTube or just listening to interviews, etc., etc., etc. But all of these people who were in these interviews or in these documentaries, they would always be quoting books. And I was thinking, like, cool, I want to sound smart like them. I want to do what they're doing. But in order to do what they're doing, I had to do the work behind the scenes that they also did. And a lot of that was reading and acquiring knowledge. So I couldn't get to this, I realized I couldn't get to the stage where I could speak so eloquently as they do, where I could impact so many people's lives without, in my own closet, in my own bedroom, picking up the same books that they read and acquiring that knowledge for myself. So I think that a book is the foundation for everything else that you see outwardly. I think that whether it's football training or whether it's boxing or whatever, the match day is just what people see. But in the private of your own life and your own development, you need to do things like read. You need to do things like speak to elders and all that sort of things. These are the foundations and these are the seeds that are gonna propel up as you enter the public stage.
That's a really well put statement, actually. Do you celebrate your Black excellence?
Yeah, I would say I definitely celebrate my Black excellence, because I think that in me celebrating my Black excellence, I can inspire others to celebrate their Black excellence. And one thing that I don't believe that we as a people are raised to celebrate is our Blackness and our excellence in our Blackness. So it's something that I intentionally do now. It's become second nature to me now, but for a long time I had to kind of force myself to recognize my Blackness within everything that I do. Because again, if we look at the society and the social structure that we live in, our Blackness isn't seen as a positive thing. So wherever I can, I kind of fight against that stigmatization and kind of whatever I do to represent my Blackness. Anything good that I am is because of, first and foremost, my God, but secondly, my Blackness and who I am throughout my ancestral bloodline.
Just to wrap up, really, I'd just like to ask you about what's one of your biggest achievements for you personally, and what's one of your goals for the future?
Okay, cool. So one of my biggest achievements, I was thinking about that question, and that's a really tough one for me. I'm gonna go with, I really might go with when I spoke at that protest, because for me it was a situation in which obviously I'm very used to speaking, but within a familiar, with a familiar audience. So within the church parameters, or around, like within the school parameters, or something like that. But to speak in front of a whole audience of strangers for me was something very new to me, and I was very nervous about it. But I feel like that has been, and I don't know whether it's the achievement in itself or what the achievement has allowed me to do confidence-wise thereafter, because I feel like that's been a big stepping stone into me growing into who I am today and what I aim to be in the future. And one of the goals that I have for the future, I have many, but I really, really want to either form or join, and I don't mind which one, some sort of organization which is for the betterment of Black people. I'm really inspired by Malcolm X. I say Malcolm X is my number one hero, and he after he left the Nation of Islam, he formed his own Pan-Africanist organization, which through that he aimed to essentially go to the United Nations and charge the United States of America with crimes against humanity. And those are the types of things that I have in my head, just joining with people, the oppressed people, Black people throughout the world, and essentially coming together, putting our minds together and using that as a basis to really make some world-changing changes in the world we live in today.
That's amazing. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for coming. That was an excellent conversation, bro. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, man. Appreciate that.